Hello, my name is Sarah. Welcome to the It Is a Sarah podcast. Today it is Monday, June 17, 2024, and this is another daily episode in which I share my handwerk perikelen, my crafty adventures with you. I'm coming to you from the Netherlands, so excuse my Dutchy English. I love to knit, I love to crochet, and I love to talk, so that's the perfect combination for making this podcast. And I love talking about my knitting and crochet so much that I make daily episodes at the moment. Since a few weeks, I don't know how long I will do that, as long as I'm having fun, and I'm really having fun. So this week for sure. I spent quite some knitting time this weekend on the project which is laying in front of me, but it's also a project I can't really show. It's a pair of socks. And it has all to do with something very exciting I will organize in November, on Saturday, November 23 of this year. And I'm almost ready to share all the details, but we are working quite hard behind the scenes to get that all ready. So it's a bit of a secret still now. But this sock, actually, only this one, I spent quite some knitting time on this weekend, and I really discovered a cool and fun technique, and I want to share that with you. But they are inside out because I won't give away all. But it's really fun. I was at this point when the weekend started, at halfway at the foot. And I knitted the heel, shadow wrap short row heel, and then the leg and the cuff, and there's some color work involved in the cuff. And I want to share more about that because I learned a new technique. Ladderback Jacquard. I did know the existence of that technique for quite a while. I watched the video, I will link it down below. I think maybe 1 or 2 years ago, but I never tried. And that's an interesting way of how things are going in my life, in my knitting life. When I find a new technique, a new way of doing things, my first reaction is no. I don't want to learn new things. No. It is perfectly fine how I do it now, and I won't spend time on trying new things. And it's quite an interesting thought, because learning new things, there's nothing wrong with that. It can only make your knitting and crochet life better, and the more experience you have on all different things, the more your knitting muscles are growing. But my first reaction is really true. But I learned, so I felt that too with the Ladderback Jacquard 2 years ago already, but also now. I'm using a pattern for inspiration for this sock, and I will share all the details about that when I can show you the full sock. But in that pattern, the designer uses Ladderback Jacquard. And that was why it came up to me again, and also my resistance. No, I won't do that. I can knit color work on a sock pretty good. It's okay. I can just do my old way. Ladderback Jacquard is a way to catch the floats. I will not explain it. I'm not a person who can explain it to you. Check the video or search on the internet or on YouTube, because there are a lot of people who can explain it, but I'm not one of them. I hardly understand it myself now. It's not difficult. It's not difficult at all. That's most of the time the case when I think, oh no, that's way too difficult for me, I won't spend energy on it. When I do spend energy on it, I realize almost always that it was not difficult at all, and it's really good for my knitting muscles, and I love doing that. So what I learned from my knitting and crochet life is that learning new things, I am not able to how do you say it? I am not able to judge I don't know if that's the good word, but to judge about the new technique with not doing that. I can't do it by head. I am doing it by head all the time, but that's not the way how it works for me. For me, it's very important. It goes from my head through my hands. And when I did it with my hands, then I can decide, okay, this works for me and this not. And it's all good. Doesn't matter if it works or not. It's all good. So, but what I am doing all the time is not, it's keeping it in my head. So it's very busy here and there's nothing happening here, and that doesn't work. So I realized that, so I thought, okay, let's try. The Ladderback Jacquard is, when you knit color work and you have to skip several stitches, you knit, for example, with 2 colors, and with the main color you knit quite some stitches and you have to carry the other color, the contrast color, behind your stitches. It can be nice to catch your floats halfway, because when you don't, you have those tiny, not tiny, very big floats at the back, and especially for socks or sleeves, it can be very annoying because your toes or your fingers will grab into the floats, and that's not nice. And also for the look of your fabric, the quality of your fabric, when you don't catch your floats, it can be tightened up a little bit. The fabric is not nice and even. It is not the most beautiful way. I did start knitting color work without catching my floats, but I learned that through the years, and I found a way by just catching the floats, twisting the yarns around each other in a certain way. Also a lot of tutorials about that on YouTube. But Ladderback Jacquard is a way that's a little bit different, and it's actually pretty good for when you have to skip a lot of stitches. So not only 5 or 7 or 9, but really a lot. And you actually knit a little bit of a fabric layer behind. So you double it. And I have the idea that it's also, color work is not as stretchy as normal fabric, and certainly not as ribbed fabric. So there are ribbed stitches in, and then the cuff is a part color work, and that's really tighter. And also knit a sock with color work, you don't want it to be too tight, because then you can't put on your sock. I think that's the main reason why she suggested Ladderback Jacquard in this pattern. So I did that, and of course I felt my resistance, but then I thought, okay, no, I will try it and we will see. And I tried, and I'm very happy I did, because this is really a nice knitting technique. It's not as hard as I thought, of course, that never is. So my knitting muscles did grow. It was fun to do. My fabric is looking better than when I just would have catch the coats. The floats. So it really improved my fabric. So I'm really happy with that. And it was also fun to learn a new technique instead of scary. It is always, maybe I am afraid to make mistakes. And I learned by knitting and crocheting that my way of learning is by making mistakes. It's almost necessary for me to make mistakes to understand what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and also how to avoid the mistakes. So making mistakes for me is an essential. So trying new things is definitely a good way for me to let my knitting muscles grow. And they did grow. Can you see it? They are bigger right now than they were before the weekend. I'm very happy I can put this technique in my box of tools, technique tools for the knitting, and it's really fun and nice. So if you are feeling the same as I am about learning new techniques, and if it's resonating with you what I'm telling now, then I hope you will be influenced by my experience. Just try. It is exactly the reason why it took me so long to start to learn knitting in the continental way on the circular knitting needles, because I thought, oh no, it won't work out for me. Oh, and I really feel a little bit bad that I didn't start knitting earlier because I missed so much knitting time. I did crochet that time, so it's not spoiled, but yeah. So if you are a crocheter and you are doubting about learning to knit, or other way around, you are a knitter and you want to learn crochet, don't lose time on doubting if learning new things is a thing for you, because it is. And you can always, when you try it and it doesn't work out for you, you can let it go, but then you've tried. So okay, Ladderback Jacquard. I really want to advise to try that technique if you are interested and if you are knitting color work. I really will use it much more often in my color work projects. Yeah, okay. I am wearing my Sanna cardigan today. That's been a while. It was not really summer cardigan weather in the Netherlands. It was actually quite cold, but today it seems to be a little bit warmer, still rainy, but a little bit warmer, so perfect for a linen cardigan, and I really love it. I wanted to put on my skirt this morning, but then I realized I still didn't find my button, and when I wear it on the skirt I want to wear it closed, and it was very obvious the button was missing. So what I will do is add another similar button. I'm quite convinced that my button is searching me too. What you are searching is searching for you too. Only I didn't search quite hard. I just thought that it would come to me quite easily, but that's not happening. So I will add a temporary button until my button and I find each other. I'm also wearing my Hinterland dress. I made it myself, and it is a little bit on the short side, but just that's because I did sew the skirt inside out to the body, so I had to cut that off, and that costed me a few centimeters, but it's okay with some tights under it, or we call this a legging with no foot. The tights are with the foot connected, I guess. So it's okay, and I really love the look of it. I must confess that I think my Sanna cardigan is a little bit on the long side for on a dress. I prefer shorter cardigans on dresses, but wearing it open fronted, it's okay. I am feeling good in it, so that's the most important. Oh, I have to clean my mirror, I see. I am at our bedroom, also known as my knitting office, during the day, and it is quite a mess around me. It is an organized mess, but it's still a mess. Let me show it to you. Okay, you can see our iron board. I now know how to call it. Thank you. Right here. It is standing here because I was working on my estuary skirt. I made some nice progress last Saturday. I was really working nice on it. This is my new skirt. This is the old one, of an old one. It's a simply gray skirt, and it was my favorite, but I really did wear it out. Do you say it like that? It's really damaged. I tried to mend it, but yeah, time to rest for that skirt. So I will replace it by a brown one, and I want to make a black one too. But I have a little problem in the skirt. I also know how to solve it, but I don't feel the sewing vibe today. So I will bring you with me in that process later this week. Here's our washing rack. I think you call it like that. I did do a wool wash. I never wash my wool by hand. I put it in my blocking tub when a project is finished. But when I wash it during the rest of the time, I always put it on the wool wash program of my machine. I don't wash my woolly items quite often. Winter items I wash once a year. when I store them for when it's summer, when I don't wear them. And my summer items, or in-between items, those are in-between items, I wash a little bit more often, especially because they are quite close under my armpits. There is not a lot of ease here. And when I wear them, sometimes I don't wear a t-shirt under it, so my skin is next to the fabric. And sometimes I do wear a t-shirt, but when I'm warm, my armpits are not always smelling like flowers. So I really want my garments to be fresh. So if I think the smell isn't fresh anymore, I put it in the washing machine. And as I said, that's not necessary with my winter garments, but in this time of the year, it is. So yeah, this is my Anchor sweater, and this is my Ursina. This is a pattern by Petite Knit, of course, and this is a pattern by Jacqueline Cieslak. They both got a little bit cranklet out of the washing machine, but it's okay. Then, right here are drying 3 pair of socks. 3 pair of my favorite socks. Those are my chocolate very slouchy long socks. Those are my ribbed socks and my Montemuro socks. I put them all together in the washing machine with the sweaters and with this cardigan. And that was quite exciting, especially because of this sock, the white in the sock. I always separate my wool wash items by color, but it's a bit hard when your sock is black and white. So I was really afraid that the white would catch some of the other colors, but it didn't happen, so lucky me. But still, of course, I could have decided to wash them by hand, but I didn't do it because that's who I am. And it did work out well, so that's very nice. I don't wash my socks either every time after wearing. Actually the same. I wash them when I think they don't smell the way I want it anymore. So yeah. And here is my husband's cardigan. This one didn't really need to be washed because he didn't wear it a lot, but I want to store it for summer. And we have moths in the house, and I want to be sure there's nothing left in the garments when I store them away. So I did wash it, and I tried to pin the fabric. The zipper is a little bit wobbly, and I think that's because when I straighten it out, it's exact the same length, but the tightness of the zippered fabric is of course way different than the knitted fabric. And I thought maybe a good blocking will help, but I think I see it bubbling right here. I think that's not the solution, but I will remove the pins in a minute and then we will see. And here is my sewing machine. She is waiting for the sewing vibes, which I'm not feeling today, but I don't mind her standing here. I will remove her when my skirt is finished. And oh yeah, my Sunny square tote, I did block it last week. I was very curious how the blocking would affect the cotton fabric, especially because I thought the sides were a little bit annoying. They still are. You can see the middle of the square is bulbing out. I did pin it, but it didn't work exactly the way I wanted to be, but it's okay. It's definitely okay for a bag. I don't think it's very annoying too. So yeah, it's more visible at the sides than at the bottom, I guess. Okay, and then this is the reason why I don't feel the sewing vibes today. I feel cactus vibes. I really love making cacti, and I will tell you all about that in a minute too. And I prepared my stuff that's belonging to the cacti, and this is also part of the materials I will need. So let me bring you with me. So that worked out pretty good, I guess. The ritz, no, not the ritz, the zipper. Ritz is the Dutch word. The zipper is still a bit wobbly, but it is not as much as it was before. I did block it. Yeah, so I think it's okay. I don't think it's possible to get it all straight, but it's better than it was before. So that really gives me the confidence and the trust that it also will work out on my own zippered cardigan, my ultra worsted cardigan, which is also very bobbling, the zipper. And I was just fitting this cardigan to check how the zipper turned out. And it made me realize I drowned into this cardigan. It is way too big. It's my husband's size. And he's quite a little bit bigger than I am. That's not really a challenge to be bigger than I am. I'm a small person. But it made me realize that I really want such a cardigan myself too. I knit this cardigan with Sandnes Per Gint. I think it was my first time knitting with Per Gint. And I really love knitting with it. And it's also, it feels really good. It smells really good. A little bit sheepy. Even after washing it several times, and it holds up quite good. I did use the zippered sweater light of just the zippered sweater from Petite Knit for men, and I put a little bit of my Sarah sauce over it. I turned it into a cardigan, and I also replaced the stockinette for broken rib stitch, and I really love the look of it. It was really a nice cardigan to make. So I thought maybe one in my size would be lovely. So I put it on my list, on my very long I want to knit list. And we shall see when it will happen. It's quite a winter knit, I guess. Yeah, okay, but today I really felt the cactus vibe. So I want to tell you a little bit more about my cacti. I really love to knit and crochet cacti, mainly crochet. Every now and then I do a little bit of knitting, but I prefer the crochet part of making cacti. And I did make quite a lot over the years, but I realized 2 years ago that I actually didn't have one myself. I always give them away. A handmade cactus, or handmade cacti, I always struggle with the two words. So, a handmade cactus is the perfect little gift for a friend or a family member for the birthday. It's not really time consuming to make one, and it looks very lovely. I mean, this is perfect, isn't it? It's so cute. Yeah, so I really prefer to make the cacti in terracotta pots. And I don't use patterns most of the time. I have a few books, but I did make my own soil pattern description actually. I did write it down. 2 years ago I organized the It Is a Sarah Flora make along. It was a little bit an extra pressure for me to create some cacti for myself that I want to keep, and since then my collection did grow a little bit, but I must confess every now and then I grab one, especially the smaller ones, when I need a little gift and I have no time to make something. But it's really time to add one to it. And for the soil, I made my description. I'm not crocheting the cactus does remind me a little bit of crocheting amigurumis, and that's not really what I love to do. I'm not very good in it. I always think it's my youngest girl, she can make the most beautiful things. I did make a picture this morning of a sweet cactus she made. I will insert it somewhere in, I guess. She works very neat and lovely and tight, and they are really steady and nice looking. Mine are a little bit more messy, but that's okay. But the amigurumi crochet process is not really what I like, the counting and the increasing and decreasing. But I made a little bit of a recipe for myself. I prefer to use those terracotta pots, and I measured for every size. You have them in several sizes. I measured how many increases I have to do and how many decreases, how many stitches. So for example, I think this is a 7 centimeter. So for 7 centimeter, you start with a magic circle, and you make 6 single crochets. There it is, the US and the UK terms always confuse me. I just mention one and I don't really know if it's the UK or the US one. You know, I guess. I make 6 single crochets, and then in every stitch I make 2, so you decrease every stitch. So you have 12 stitches, and I crochet in a spiral, so I don't close the rounds, but I just crochet on and on and on, so you don't get a need at the side, a seam at the side. And then I increase, I crochet 1 single crochet, and in the next stitch I make 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, so I have 18. Then I go to 24, so I crochet 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, and 2 in the next stitch. 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. And then I have 24, and then I do 30, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, until I am at 30. And then I crochet 120 single crochets to get some body, and then I start decreasing. And also for the decreases, I have my own recipe, which stitches I have to crochet together to get a decrease. And I must confess, the decreases always are a little bit more messy than the increases, but it is still okay. And then I always have a fitting soil ball. It will always fit into the pot, and that's really nice. For the cacti, most of the time I be a little more creative. Crocheting cacti is a lot playing for me, just see what's happening, and I love that, to play with the yarns and just make a little bit and add a little bit here, add a little bit there, and until you think this is how I want it to be. Today I have a special thing. I want to make a cacti, and actually I don't want to make a cactus. I want to make a little plant. This is my favorite coffee mug, and my husband broke it a few weeks ago, yeah, he was very sad about it, and I was too, because it's really one of my, it is my favorite coffee mug. It was gifted to me by my father 10 years ago, and most of the time, every day, I drank my coffee out of it. My husband, he did repair it, but when I was drinking coffee out of it, it had a bit of a glue taste, and I don't know if that was a mental taste, or if I was really tasting the glue, but I don't want to drink coffee out of it because I don't think glue is healthy for me. So I decided that it wouldn't be my coffee mug anymore, but I don't want to throw it away. I didn't want to throw it away, and then I had the idea, let's make a cactus in it. But I decided I want to make a plant. I have on my blog, I have a little bit of a description how to make a plant with you make some chains and some single crochets, and then you do a little bit to create those strands, planty strands. I don't know how to explain it. So I think that will be really suiting this coffee mug. But I won't start with that today. I will start with making the soil, as I said. And I do have 2 baskets with cactus yarn. I collect all the yarns, so sometimes from my own stash, sometimes I find something in the thrift store, and it can be all the materials. I love the woolly ones. I don't have a lot of cotton in my stash. My girl is making all the cacti with cotton, but I love the woolly look. So it's wool, and also acrylic is also, I never work with acrylic, and I never buy it unless I am in the thrift store and I see it's a nice cactus color. Then I will bring it with me. So I prefer the look of wool, but for a cactus acrylic is also good. I think this is a mix of wool and acrylic, if I feel it. I always crochet my my cacti with 2.5mm needles, because I love to have them tight so they will not shine through. This is a little bit shiny through still. Of course you wouldn't see it when I would fill it with brown stuff, but I always use my leftovers for stuffing my cacti. So those are all the yarn ends I cut off, and in this pot I store them upstairs. It is in my closet around the corner, and it's way too much I have here, because there's a lot of a big pile laying on my table next to me. So it's really time that I make something that needs to be stuffed, because I have a big basket downstairs for all my downstairs leftovers. But it really feels good to not just throw the leftovers away, but use them for another project. So every now and then I make a pillow. I really want to stuff tight, and then I also use it. And yeah, today it will be the soil from a cactus. I'm sorry. Yeah, so I will bring you with me in the soil making process. I will film it for you, put a little nice music under it, and then that is the end of the video from today. So I want to say goodbye right now before I will do that. So you can enjoy a little bit of soil making. Who would have thought that people would enjoy soil crocheting on a Monday in June? I don't know. It's making me happy showing you how I crochet the soil. I'm happy. I know that it's called soil because I didn't know when I start making English episodes. I did learn a lot of words. I most of the time I forget them immediately, but the soil, it stick into my head. So let's make some soil. Thank you for watching today. I will see you. I hope I will see you next time. I will be there tomorrow with another video, and enjoy your Monday night or whatever day it is. I hope you have some nice crochet or knitting time, or whatever you love to do time. Make it hard jumping, and thank you for watching. Bye bye.